Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, rules back. I remain your host and be Side Prof.
In that hospital, there was this grandma that was really she knew um, the right words to give me at the time. You know, the right words. One day there was a brother that called me, and he knew what I was going through. So he called me and said that it was because of a sin that I had committed, and that's why I am being punished. And that day I went, what could I have done? You know, like, what did I do? Okay, so the grandma noticed that my mood that day was different. I wasn't talking, I wasn't, anything she says, I would just nod. So she said, what happened? Did anybody call you? Did anybody do anything? So I told her, I said, this was what happened. And she said, that person that spoke did not know God. Because if he actually understood God, he will know that God is not punishing you because of anything. We were all one sinners, and we should have been going through a kind of probably we should all have been paralyzed at the time. But he said she just told me not to pick his call and not to think about everything or whatever he says, and that was the last time I picked his call. So the journey began like that, like that. Every day I was hoping to have an improvement, but there was no improvement. There was no change. I was still in pain. I would have to use like 5 pillows because my spine was already broken. Not broken, it had shifted to the back. So like his hair's curved, so but it has punctured and it was out like that. So I have to use a lot of pillows to, cushion the pain and the back like that. So one day there was no light in the hospital, and I could not breathe because I had shifted, tried to shift, and then I had gotten to the wall. And that night, my mom was not in the hospital. I think she went home, and she went to do some things at home. So I was trying to scream, and the doors were iron like that, so nobody would hear. So I screamed, shouted, doctor, nurse, grandma, everybody. Nobody could hear what I was saying. So because I just prayed a prayer, I said, Lord, help me. And I wasn't even praying anymore at the time because I had so much going on in my mind that I could not understand. So I I just flipped from the bed and I said, if I die now, there's no problem. I flipped and I landed on the floor and I broke my knee. But I couldn't feel any pain because I was paralyzed. So I fell um, on the floor and I was there. So there was a breeze that was coming. So I was able to sleep on that floor with the whole plaster and bandages and everything. So it was when they came in the morning, they saw that, what happened? What happened? They quickly called everybody here and then they started to treat. So, and then meanwhile, prayers was going on. My brother, my church, they would pray with me. My brother was praying, reach out to me and the likes. So, we now went to do, the doctor told us to do an x-ray. So we did an x-ray. It was from the x-ray that they found out that there was a collapse in the spine and it was being held. The spinal cord that is inside the spine itself was held. So since it was held, there was no flow of neurons or nerves. You could not feel anything because it was held. So that was what happened. So so the doctor told us that what I had was called spinal tuberculosis. So, and in Yoruba, tuberculosis is cough.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what you mean
What?
by spinal tuberculosis. And that was what he said. But there was another name for it. It's called Pott's disease. It's an ancient disease like that. I was checking, I was like, why do I have to go through this type?
All this.
ancient disease. It actually used to happen to the Egyptians. So I'm like, what's going on? All right, so that began the healing process. I started to take some drugs and the likes, but I was still paralyzed. But I was taking the drugs, injection, and the hospital came one day and said they have to let me go and the like. So we went back home. My mom was taught how to give me injections, how to. There were times my mom would give me injection, and it would be on my vein, and if you are giving injection on your vein, you'd feel like you want to die, and those things happen. But in those times, I knew that um, I could sense the presence of God in all those um, pain. If I prayed, if I said, Lord, I would sense His presence would be just around, and I would be like, why would your presence and I'm not? So those questions were just too much. So I was always quiet. So when I got back from the hospital, I started to listen to some tapes. That was Kenneth Hagin. I listened to Kenneth Hagin. I was hoping that Kenneth Hagin should be alive, so that he would have come and probably lay hands on me, and then I'll be fine. But Kenneth Hagin died in 2003. So where's Kenneth Hagin? So yeah, so read books. I could lift my hands a little at the time. So I would read books, read a lot of books. And what I was just trying to do was to build my faith. I was just trying to, okay, even if I'm going to die like this, I want to know that I died in the Lord. That was what I was doing. I was reading scriptures, I was listening to audio Bible, listening to tapes. So one day I just slept and I woke up and I just heard like a voice, move your legs. And then I couldn't move the leg, but I saw that my toes could move like this. I said, I have received my miracle. And that was when I started to tell my people to raise me up every day, every day, every day, every day. To a point, I started to use crutches like that. I would just stand on the crutch. It's not like I could walk or anything. I'll just stand for like maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and then go back to bed again, lie down for the whole day and be staring at the same place for for how long, right? So something happened during those times that I was um, using the crutches. Um, I don't sleep very well. I don't sleep very deep. I just it's always a shallow sleep because it's the same place, the same experience. I don't sleep much. If I hear just one sound, I'm awake already. So, but that Saturday evening, I I was I slept, and I slept very well. Now, so I just woke up. I was on the bed. I woke up and I saw a snake beside me. It was a snake that was looking at me like straight eyeball to eyeball where I was lying down. And I was like, what am I going to do? There was no one at home. So it was just me. And I'm now stuck with a snake on my bed. I was looking at me eyeball to eyeball. So I knew that there's a name that we have been given. And I knew there were two options. Either the snake will kill me here, or the name of Jesus is going to avail for me. So I shut my eyes and I screamed, Jesus! That was one of the times I really raised my voice. And as I said Jesus, I shut my eyes there for any repercussion or anything that was going to happen to me. So I opened my eyes and I didn't see the snake beside me. I looked on the floor and I saw that it had fallen. I could see that shiny stomach of it. So it was there. So I was scared. I was so scared that I was trying to look at the bed if there were more. Right. So before I could look down, the snake had gone. I could not find the snake, and the whole house was shut. Everywhere was locked. You know, and the house is tiled. I heard that snakes can walk on tiles now. But at the time, I felt like, snake on tiles. How did it go? Then climbed my bed and then stood where I was. Is a 5 bedroom apartment. So why I was in my room, why I was in my bed. So there was too many coincidences, and it passed. And I started a journey of bringing back my faith um, with the Lord and like that. So that was my experience of paralysis. There is more, but let me just stop here to hear what you say.
Hmm. Wow. It has really been a journey. I would like you to continue. I'm getting really, I don't know, but
Okay.
I want to really hear more.
All right, sir. Okay, so um there was one day I was um using the crutches. I was trying to be mobile again, just walk around the house, and so my dad came at my back and he screamed at me and said, "Move your legs now, walk fast and the legs." And I was, oh my word, I was like, what is this? Why was he shouting at me? The person you're talking to, I'm trying. Do you know how much I want to run? Do you know how much I want to? And you are. So there was someone with us. So he just came and told me that I should calm down. I should forget about it and the likes. So, but I became resentful because every time he spoke to me, I did not even want to see him because I wanted to even take something to maybe stone him or something at the time because I don't understand. So there was a day I was all alone in the house. I was hearing a podcast. There was a church around, so they were making this podcast, and the podcast was on forgiveness. Forgiveness. So I came, and ah, I heard it. I knew that I was supposed to forgive him, and I said, "Okay, Lord, I've forgiven him." I just said, "Lord, I've forgiven him." And then the next time he came into the room, I still felt like getting a knife and just stabbing him anyhow. Yeah, so I knew, so I went back again. Lord, help me to forgive. Lord, help me to forgive. So that time passed. We're able to get back to talking. So I was going to return back to school. I told my mom that I was going back with the crutches because I cannot remain in this house. I'm tired and the likes. And we did not have any more money. There was nothing, practically nothing in the house. So what I did was when my mom told me, said, "You want to go to school?" I said, "Yes." She said, "There's no money." Oh. I said, "No problem." So as she left, I knelt down with my wobbled knees at the time, and I said to the Lord that, "Lord, I want to go back to school. I want to finish my education." And that was my prayer. And I stood up, and the next day I was to go to church to testify. So after the testimony, somebody just came out, a couple, I did not even know them. They just said that God told them that they should give me a check and the likes. And the check, I did not know the amount, but I knew that it was able to foot my school fees, my house bill, my laptop, my phone. There was change and the likes. And I saw the provision of God. I saw the hand of God, in those journeys. I did not understand so much at the time. So I could say that, Lord, why me? What am I going through? Why do I have to go through this? You know? So returning back to school was super difficult because for someone that's an executive in the fellowship, like is RCF. So everybody everybody on campus knows you, because you're a minister and the likes. So returning back to school, and I knew that God just had to help me, because how will I face people? How will I, the trauma of, I was walking before, I was telling you about Jesus before, and then all of a sudden, those questions, when people ask, where is your Jesus? Your Jesus, So, but I was able to get over that, trusting God that, Lord, I know that my service is just going to be to only you, and whatever comes afterwards, no problem. So that was my experience on campus, and God really made it. 400 level was my best year on campus. God gave me people. I met a lot of people. I didn't know that my story could be. I felt it was a story of pain and of God forgetting His own. But I found out that there I met several people that were at the verge of suicide, and then all they needed to do was enter my hostel, and then we just have a conversation, talk about the Lord, pray, and they are fine. I didn't know that there was, probably there's something God could do with that. So, and fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. My spine was still bent all the while, um, till 2021. So 2016, 2017, and the spine was bent like this. So it meant that if I had just fallen or landed on my back, everything would have just collapsed, right? So I just was, like I said, it has been a journey of trust. You must just trust God, because how? I've had accidents on bike. That's with the collapsed spine, and I will still say, Lord, hey, we are here. So until 2021, I had a surgery, so it was straightened, and there was a lot of technicalities to that, but it's straightened, and that's some of the journeys till now.